What's good, my people? It's your boy 336, and you are now tuned in to another episode of the 336 podcast. I'm here today to tell you that I'm ahead, not up to date. Yes, that means I am from the future. Your today is just my yesterday. Spoiler alert, ain't shit changed. What's good, my people? Again, you are now tuned in to the 336 podcast, which currently airs on Sundays. But make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you catch all of our other weekly segments as we are adding new segments as the days go on, man. This has been a very crazy week, man. It's actually been a very disturbing week this week in America, of course around the world, but we're going to talk about it, man. Let's get into something. First thing we want to say is our condolences. I don't think any was killed, but there have been quite a few mega shootings. A guy in a New York subway just shot over 24 people, over 24 injured at least. And just, recently, at a mall in South Carolina or Columbia, South Carolina, I think it was, over 12 injured there, 10 shot, 2 injured via stampede as folks try to run to safety. Right now, they have a couple in critical condition, but as of now, no one has died. So, we do suffer together with these people, with these cities, for these incidents that are taking our nation by storm. They're just unexplainable, and it sucks to live in a world like this. So we do want to send our condolences out there. We have to be safe, protect ourselves at all times. We have to be aware. So just want to say that for you guys, to make sure that you guys are staying safe as well, because we definitely will be staying safe here at the 336 podcast, man. Let's talk about it. April 4th, Patrick Lyoya. Let's talk about him. And forgive me if I pronounce the name incorrectly, but 26-year-old man, father of 2, brother of 5, was shot and killed by an unnamed officer in Grand Rapids on that date. Now, recently, just this week, they released the body cam, car cam. There is also a security cam and a slight phone footage that has been released in a compiled about 20-minute video. And you'll be able to see that video and see what exactly took place on the 4th of April when police pulled over Patrick Lyoya. This is a situation that's taken the nation by storm right now, gaining some momentum as this recent footage have dropped. There have been a lot of protests, very consistent protests in Grand Rapids, just for justice, for clarity, for transparency, and for answers, most importantly. But I want to talk about this situation, and I want to urge you guys to go check it out. It's crazy to watch, actually. It's really only disturbing for about 5 seconds. Everything else is pretty crazy to watch. So let's talk about it, man. This guy, again, April 4th, Patrick, he's 26 years old. He's a brother to 5, father to 2 little girls. And, he was riding and he was pulled over by this officer, which right now they are keeping him unnamed. And he had plates on a car that didn't match. So basically, we look up these plates, says it belongs on a Lamborghini, but it's on a Honda. So the plates didn't match, which, of course, that always is a bad signal. That's never a good thing. So it always spells not just a regular traffic stop, but it spells trouble. And it spells that, some type of theft or manipulation took place. So he goes ahead and he tries to pull him over. They pull over on the side of the street. It's just crazy how these things happen, because it's like you can't make it up, But he pulls over, and what do you do when the police pull you over? You pull over. You got to sneak your seatbelt on right quick. You already know that, you know what I'm saying? But you pull over, you may cut your car off, you may not, but you go ahead and prepare yourself to give them the documents that they'll request, and you simply put your window down and you await, trial, judgment in the streets. Mr. Lyoya, he decides to immediately get out the car and to approach the police. So yeah, just imagine you pull over, the police getting out to walk up to you, and then they see you get out the car and you walking up to them. Now, at this point, that's where everything goes wrong. We are already wrong right there. So let's not forget about the details. We're already in the wrong at that point. So the officer did not, go to any extremes at that point. He just remained in the vehicle. The suspect, he was not cooperative. He is a refugee who was just recently sent to the country, recently arrived, and he's a refugee. So he is not necessarily, we don't know. It appears that maybe his English may not have been that good. The officer asked, did he speak English? They seem to have been able to speak English, as it was one other person in the vehicle, which is who recorded some of the incident. And, you can hear in his angle of the video that he's speaking English pretty well. He has an accent, of course, but he's able to say things. Patrick, at the time, he was really kind of unresponsive to the officer and what was going on and what he was saying. He then, asked him, where's your license? Do you have a license? I'm pulling you over, just to kind of set the tone. Hey, I'm pulling you over. What are you doing getting out the car? Like, I'm pulling you over. Do you speak English? Where's your license? He said in the car. He opened the car door. They tried to, get the license. I'm not sure if the individual in the car who was riding with him was trying to get him the license, but at some point, it just goes into duress. It goes into a situation where the altercation becomes physical now instead of verbal. And they wrestled, and this officer wrestled with Mr. Lyoya around the car, into the neighbor's yard, into the other neighbor's yard for a decent amount of time. It could have been up to 5 minutes of wrestling that took place between the officer, and they were essentially trying to gain control of the situation. The suspect was not being cooperative. He hopped out the vehicle, which was the first mistake, and then was not giving the police officer the information that was necessary, not being transparent. Can you speak English? Where are your license? I'm pulling you over. The plates do not match on the car. Very transparent with him. And for some reason, he just decided to fight back with this officer. Did not want to submit. Did not want to come under apprehension. There were 2 attempts to tase Miss Lyoya, which the officer says are I think it's this chief of police says that they were unsuccessful. And you can kind of see in the video, they're trying to do the taser. Of course, nobody wants to be tased. Natural reaction. Mr. Lyoya is grabbing the taser. You can hear throughout the video, he's saying, let go of the taser, let go of the taser. And eventually, they're wrestling, like I said, for minutes on minutes, to where a neighbor comes outside and, they're still wrestling for so long, he just goes ahead and walks back in. And eventually, the passenger gets out the car like, come on, man. Why are you doing like that? But I mean, come on, guys. Like, we're just in the wrong on so many levels as a suspect to get out the car and approach an officer and wrestle with them for minutes while they're trying to apprehend. You got these tags on this car that don't match, and 10 times out of 10, let's say 9 times out of 10, you know that they don't match. So you know why you're being pulled over. You know what's going on, and you take the offensive. And I don't like that. I don't agree with that decision by Mr. Lyoya. You got pulled over. You got caught. Face the consequences. See how things go. Let's get to the details. Maybe he's innocent. We're going to ask some questions. We're going to look into it. We're going to figure things out. But when you take an offensive approach, you get out the vehicle. I mean, that's just rule number 1 in a traffic stop. Like, stay in the vehicle, man. So you go through all of these things, and obviously this officer is a little bit smaller than Miss Lyoya. He's white, of course. This is a black man, and this dude, he's from overseas, and he's strong, and he's a big guy, and they're wrestling. They're going back and forth. He's very determined to not allow this officer to apprehend him, and after just a bit of time, he just decides that I can't get this guy down. It's been too long. He's tried calling for backup. He's tried to tase. And this is where the blame shifts from Patrick Lyoya to the unnamed officer that they still are protecting. They're wrestling on the ground. He gets above him to where at this point he is on top of Mr. Lyoya, who is on all fours. He's on top of him trying to hold him down. Now, the video shows that you can see the officer grabbing for his weapon at this point, reaching back, grabbing for his weapon, and over top of him while he's on all fours and he's over him trying to hold him down, the police officer fires his weapon and shoots and kills Patrick Lyoya. Now, just to know that this man was shot and killed by police was disturbing. Then to see the video and to see that this officer pulled out his weapon and shot him in the head, that was unacceptable. You know, you hear a guy get shot and killed, you wonder, man, how did that happen? You know, he got shot in the wrong place, what happened? But no, this officer, while over top leaning down on Patrick Lyoya on all fours, pulled out his weapon from off of his hip, and while he was over him, shot him in his head just as I'm on this mic, about this close. Shot him in the head. That's where everything shifts, man. That's where we start to need answers. That's where we start to demand justice. That's where things take a deadly turn, an unreasonable turn, and an excessive turn. Like, there are several other methods that were used. Of course, they failed. But it's not, it's just not the citizens' fault that, these guys just aren't well trained enough in combat, man. He tried to do some maneuvers. They were unsuccessful. I'm not sure where backup was, but it still gives you no right to pull out your gun and shoot a man in the head because they won't go down, because they're resisting arrest. He shot him in the head. The craziest thing about this, right? This is wrong. And we're going to say that it's wrong, and we're going to make sure everyone knows that it's wrong. Because, yes, initially, Patrick Lyoya, he was dead wrong for getting out the car, for driving that vehicle, for not cooperating with the officer, for fighting back with the officer. He was wrong. He's accountable for that. And he was held accountable to the highest level by losing his life, which was unnecessary. But the blame shifts when we got to shoot a black man in his head because he won't go down, because we, as an inferior policeman, are unable to apprehend where our taxpaying dollars go into training, where our taxpaying dollars pay for your career, they take care of your family, and you're not taking your job seriously enough, and you're mishandling these situations. Now, these guys want to try to say the video, the body cam footage ended at this point. The cell phone footage ended at this point. Maybe they didn't want to just show the black man getting killed. Because, of course, these other guys, like I said a couple weeks ago, they don't show the video of the white man who just goes downtown and starts shooting at cars driving by. They won't show that. But we'll show you this video, full transparency, full disclosure of this black man getting shot in his head by an officer. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. We know what happened. We know that you guys are manipulating the footage, but it's not going to change the narrative. When you shoot a man in the head from close range while you're leaning your full body weight over top of him, we get what's going on. We see that excessive force is used. So it's inexcusable. And, I want everybody to monitor this situation very closely, because he could have shot him anywhere else, maybe. He didn't have to shoot him at all, but he shot him right in the head. Condolences to Patrick Lyoya and his family, man. Like I said, he's a brother of 5. He still has 2 kids that will succeed him. And also his parents, they are still living as well. They're refugees. They come over here to escape the danger in their native country, not knowing that it's just as dangerous for people of color dealing with law enforcement in the United States. Well, guys, that's all we have time for today. And that's all we're going to make this segment about, because this segment is more important than these other things that are going on in the world. You know, another black man killed via excessive use of force. He doesn't get a chance. He doesn't get an opportunity. But I urge you guys, man, handle yourselves better. Understand what's going on. Handle yourselves better. You know, we don't deserve to be killed. We don't deserve to die. We don't deserve to be shot in the head in front of our friends, family. We don't deserve that. These things are inexcusable, man. It's the 336 podcast. Make sure you like this video, comment. What are your thoughts on this situation? Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss this or any of our other content. Again, we air on Sundays right now, but man, y'all stay safe out there. And I mean that the most in this podcast. Y'all stay safe. But most of all, y'all stay sucker free, man. It's your boy 336. Zzz!